Well, hello there, YouTube. I thought I'd do a short video this week. There's a few things we need to continue to do while we dress this transmission. In last week's video, I did the neutral safety switch and the shift linkage bushings, and that's in the transmission playlist, by the way. And this will also be in the playlist. I'm gonna talk about the kickdown solenoid. I'll take that apart. Another item on that transmission is the speedometer pickup. I'm not going to actually install this today, and the reason is I don't have that O-ring. But I wanted to give you guys the O-ring. That's the part number I have. If that part number changes, it will be in the update. So the update means that in the description I will put update as the very first part, if there is an update on any video. Which reminds me, when I did the AC compressor installation, there's an update on that one. But let's get back to this. As I said, I'm not going to be installing this, but that's the O-ring. There is no torque specifications. You know, it's the O-ring is what's going to seal it. And there is a spring washer there, so that spring washer is going to help prevent that from loosening. This is the automatic transmission kickdown solenoid. Here's all the part numbers for all the O-rings, and the total cost you can see was under 12 bucks US. There's a couple of other things I want to address as well, and that is how it plugs in. So you can see there's a little boot, and there's the part number for that boot. And then there's a pin that actually sticks into this right here. All right, we'll take a closer look at that. But see that pin in there? I'm telling you the pin number, all right, because it's a kind of a special pin. With that said, this pin will work. And that's the same pin that I used on when I repin the harness, the engine harness. So there's a video for that. You guys, if you want to check out all the wiring part of the engine, I went ahead and I describe all these. Now I've ordered both of these parts, but they're not here yet. They have to come out of Germany. This is the part number for these little guys. And I've already tested it. You know, you can put it on there. There's no problem with that. You just have to remove that rubber grommet first. I thought we'd go ahead and test this one. This is the one that's already on the transmission, the one that was supplied with Sun Valley. I have my voltage set to 12 volts, and all you have to do is put the red on your pin and just tap this and listen. You can see it draws amps and all that, but that's what you're listening for, is just that. Now let's go test the old one. So I've got the positive on there just like the other one. And let's make sure we're sitting right at 12 here. And there's our solenoid, and we can just touch it, and you don't hear a thing. You notice there's no amp draw, no matter where I touch it. You know, you'd say, oh, Tony, it's not bolted down. Well, I can touch it on the face of that too. And that tells me this thing's not working. So the first thing is going to be that washer. Crush washer. And this can get stuck from what I hear. But you can see what we've got. I have a lot of assembly lube or grease on here. We'll look at this in a minute. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first. Now it doesn't matter to me if I damage these O-rings, but I don't want to damage the shaft. So I'm using this little tool. It's just a little plastic tool. I've seen people use, you know, like a knife to cut this stuff off. Man, I wouldn't do it. These are still pliable. And then our final one here on the top. And there's that crush washer. So little one, that would be this one. That's the part number for the little one. Spring washer. This third one right here, that one right there is that one. And finally, that one. All right, let's see what we got here. That is what is happening because it's adjusting the amount of fluid from what I understand, right? So it's like a needle valve. I wonder if just cleaning it in my ultrasonic bath might be enough to make that work. In the meantime, we can take a look at this. So visually, I want to see if I can see any cracks. I don't really see any cracks, I don't believe. Everything looks okay. There might be a crack right here, but I don't think that's anything. I think all I'm going to do is do the ultrasonic and we'll reassemble it and see if that fixes it. And of course I need to clean this as well. This here I'm not going to put in the ultrasonic. I'm going to clean all this by hand. Well, that's in the ultrasonic cleaner. Let's go ahead and just test this using another method. And this one here, I'm going to use my multimeter set to ohms. And I'll put my red on my red pin. And then I'll touch this back ground to complete the circuit. And what do I have? 269.5 ohms? Really? But on the one that's on the vehicle or on the transmission right now is 12.7 roughly. That's the problem. See, 12.8, 12.7. You can tell that that other one is shot. But if you're wondering, oh, well, the ohms will change, you know, if it's all together. Well, I don't think so. There it is, 269.5. So that's totally wrong, right? I know that the coil itself is what's bad, and I would replace that. This is about $75, and here's the part number for that. So again, that solenoid itself is about $75, genuine Mercedes, and this is about $100. It'll come with all the O-rings, so you won't need that. You'll still need the crush washer though. But let's see if this actually functions properly, and how it works is there's a needle valve here, and one way to test it is just to take like this little thing here. It's a finish nail, so it's concaved on that one side, and you can put it in there on top of that piston, right? That little needle, and push that, and you can see I can push that, no problem, and it don't stick. But I would think that this is okay. It moves freely. I put it in the ultrasonic bath. Now what I would do to protect the insides of this is I would use the transmission fluid that you're using and prime it. So that way there you get oil behind here, because it bled. So there is oil behind that. I cleaned it all out with brake fluid as well as in the ultrasonic cleaner. And then when I came out, I kept bleeding it and making sure that it was nice and clean. And put on your O-rings and reassemble it. Now, I'm not going to go ahead and do that, obviously, because I'll be throwing my money away. So we tested this. Luckily, we have a new one, so it really doesn't matter. And here's the part number for that, and here's the part number for one of these if you need it. Well, we can pretend that we put it all together and tested it and then put it in there. And that's what it would look like, just like that. Now you're ready to go. You know, I'm sorry I wasn't able to actually do that, but you know the proper steps. And as far as torque setting goes, there are no torque settings. This is a crush washer, so you want to make sure that you crush it. A minimum of about 5 foot-pounds, which is about 6 to 7 Newton meters. I wouldn't, you know, crank on this thing. There is a casing. This top part right here, this is all plastic. So don't over crank it. All you're trying to do is crush that washer. Well, that's the end of this video, you guys. Thanks again for watching.